Cow Report with host Chuck Lee, and with me is a distinguished man, Frederick X. Stafford. How you doing, Fred?
Good afternoon there, Chucky.
Yeah, well, Fred, how you doing? It's been a busy week. You've read the last paper the last couple of days?
Yeah, betcha.
Got your name in there?
Well, I've seen it a few times, yes.
Well, we, on the Cow Report, think that some of that stuff has to be discussed, and we'll work on it.
Very good.
Yeah, X. Stafford, let's see. That's a name for you. A new one.
Fred F. Yeah, that's mine.
Fred
Yeah.
F. No, it's
Yeah.
Fred X.
Yeah.
X-ray. Now, on the Cow Report, we discuss new topics and cover the thing about the newspaper articles about the parties you had in there. Was it about the Republican Party in there, Fred?
Yes.
And you discussed many things in there concerning the angles of the Republican Party and what they're trying to do currently.
Well, yes, we did. Sometimes what we say doesn't get in the paper, though.
Well, that's because
I
of the
believe-
journalism.
I believe that when you have a candidate or candidates, your candidate should know right from wrong. If they don't know right from wrong, they're not morally qualified to hold office. And it seems that it's politically correct to support homosexuality and be a champion of it in Congress and so forth, but to oppose it because God opposes it, they don't like that.
Aha!
What are you doing here?
What's going on out here? Depart, you imposter!
Who are you?
Depart, you
Who
imposter!
is that? I'm already here.
Yeah,
Depart!
he's already here. He's even got an Illinois hat on.
This is my show. Depart, you imposter!
Okay, we'll see you later. Bye.
Hey, don't drink that stuff there. It'll probably make your hair fall out.
Fred, how could you let such a thing happen?
Why not? I think he even looks better than you. Doesn't have any whiskers. Looks like you need a shave there, Chuck.
Here I was.
You want to stand closer to the razor next time.
Here I had to go do something for 5 minutes, come back, and there's an imposter on the show, and you didn't even notice it.
I did. I told you. I thought he was better looking than you.
I can't believe it. Did he even introduce you properly?
Well, absolutely. And he, with respect, which I don't get from you all the time.
Well, this is the Cow Report. We're coming to you from beautiful downtown L.E. Phillips Library and in the Jewel of the North, Fred, Eau Claire, Wisconsin.
Oh, yes.
And with me, as always, is my sidekick and past commander of all forces south of Panama and all the banana republics
no,
north of Brazil,
That's a lot of baloney.
Fred W.E.B. Du Bois Stafford.
No way.
And there you have it.
Don't link me up with the communists, please.
Yeah. So what was going on out here, Fred, while my back was turned?
Oh, nothing. Nothing.
Well, I think we're going to take a call
Where
while
you
you're
been
thinking
hiding?
about. While you're thinking about.
Where you been hiding?
Go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
Hi, Chuck.
Hello.
Yeah, this is Ross. I'm
Yeah.
in a band, and I want to say something about that one arena that they're thinking about building yet.
Which one?
All right. Well, I think if they put GPX amplifiers in there, the sound would carry better,
Uh-huh.
and it'd bring more people there. And if they endorse GPX, like at the stands and everything, they have like GPX Walkmans for sale and everything. I think the Boss Band would be able to play there every night.
Uh-huh.
I think that's really good for Eau Claire's economy. And Miss Barstead and her eyeshadow. You could sell green eyeshadow, and I think this would really stimulate the economy into a point where Eau Claire would become a financial business leader.
They call it the Jewel of the North.
Well, that'd be
Eyeshadow
great.
is the jewel of the North. Yeah.
That'd be a great idea. Are you willing to finance this arena?
Oh yeah, if my band can play there, the Boss Band.
Well,
If we can play there, it's all that matters to me.
Well, that's
I'll pay for it.
Well, you get it built there, and at not the public paying for it, but get somebody to pay for it and pay the losses that it's going to incur.
All right, so you mean like found it like the L.E. Phillips Library? I call it like this Barstead shop of eyeshadow arena.
Okay, well, Fred, there we have it.
Yeah.
Another person that's interested in having a downtown arena. And, of course, you know what my plan is for the downtown area. We're going to build a 4-lane highway right through it, Fred.
Well, you're going to probably wipe out the downtown then. There won't be any downtown left.
We're going to connect the north crossing with I-94 on the south end. We're just going to run a 4-lane straight through the downtown area.
Well, that's a good way of getting rid of the problems we have downtown.
That's what they call urban renewal, Fred. So we're going to take this call while you're... Whoops, we had a caller on that line there, Fred, but first of all, Fred.
Yes.
On this date, April 3rd, 1860.
Yes.
You know what happened?
April 3rd, 1860? That when Fort Sumter was bombarded?
No.
1860, you said, right? You didn't say 1960.
The Pony Express began mail delivery. The first route was between Sacramento, California, and St. Joe, Missouri. 1860. Okay, now we're going to try and take a call. We've got a new caller. We got a new battery of operators standing by to take your orders. So
yeah.
Go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
I don't think it's a good idea to put a 4-lane highway through that arena that I'm building. If I'm paying for it, I wouldn't want a 4-lane highway through it. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? I'd like a big monument of GPX, Watkins, and Green Ash.
How'd that guy get on there again?
Well, he must have called in again. You know, I wouldn't, if I were going to put in some speakers in a place, I'd make sure they weren't GPX.
Why?
Well, I don't know. Some of the GPX equipment that's on the market there, and I'm thinking of stereos and so forth, don't last as long as other things and don't sound as well.
Well, Fred, we're going to try and take this call on line 1 here. So go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, the GPX sign that I'm building.
Fred, did you put that guy up to that or what? You know, Fred, on this date, April 3rd, well, which was yesterday,
yeah,
1882, guess what happened?
1882?
82.
82. 1882. Well, I don't know, to be truthful with you.
Well, after that last outburst, I can see why. Jesse James was killed on this day, on April 3rd, Sunday, yesterday,
He was?
1882.
Well, that's too bad.
Now, I think we got a call,
It's
Fred.
a kind of late to express our sympathy to his family and loved ones, huh?
Yeah, it was about 112 years too late. Okay, caller, you're on the air.
Yes, I understand on the previous show that you've talked about drugs and crime. I also understand that in the 1980s you were in prison in Illinois on drug-related charges. Could you elaborate on that, and also how long were you in prison for?
Well, Fred, what do you think about that?
Oh, that's something to think about.
That sounds like some kind of setup. So we'll just talk about that later, Fred. That sounds like some kind of setup, so we'll deal with that on our evening show when we go into our annual Cow Pie Awards, which will be next Monday night. In the meantime, we'll take another caller on line 1. I hope it isn't the GPX guy.
This is the notorious GPX caller again.
Oh.
I say, while they're at it, might as well build a big eyeshadow thing on the front. It's green, really green, like neon green. And it could say King of Shadow or King of Shadow. And then, like, you could go and you could, like, have GPX subwoofers and GPX everything, everywhere. GPX pens and pencils and Beatus could fly over the place and go.
Fred, how'd that guy get back on there again?
Well, I don't know.
Okay, Fred. Well, I saw where you made the papers again over the weekend, Fred.
I did?
It was the second.
You did too.
It was the second part of the 2-part series that started the Sunday before this.
Yes.
And yesterday was more dealing with what's going on a national level, kind of tying it in with local groups. So, what did you think about that yesterday, Fred? Were you quoted properly?
Well, I guess they did quote me once there. That was correct. But considering the half hour or so we were interviewed, that wasn't much of a quote. He didn't say the other things that I said, and one of the things that I did say, if you didn't know that homosexuality was wrong, And you don't, then you weren't morally qualified to hold office.
So that part was quoted properly, huh?
Well, more or less, yes.
Okay, Fred. A couple of weeks ago, we had a caller call in, and they were talking about a group of pro-life people that were arrested up in Hayward during the Birkenbeiner.
Is that right?
For holding up signs along the road.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I finally tracked it down. It took a while, and I know we got a couple calls waiting, and hopefully the GPX man is... You think he's got stock in that company or something, Fred?
Might have.
Well, anyway, this story here, Fred, is really interesting, and it has a happy ending. Kind of paraphrasing, a group of pro-life people were standing along the highway inside of Hayward city limits, holding up signs about the pro-life movement, Fred.
Mm-hmm.
And several police came up and told them that their signs were illegal. I didn't know a sign could be illegal, but evidently these were. So then they left after the group lowered their signs and started walking north. Then the police swarmed back on them again, and they were ordered to halt where they were at as they walked north out of town, trying to get out of the city limits. And they were given 15 seconds more, or if they'd had 15 seconds more, they would have crossed out of the city limits into the county.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the departing police squads returned, and officers again surrounded the men and ordered them to lay their signs on the ground. And I guess the year before that, 25 pro-lifers were in the same location holding up signs, and nobody said anything to them. Well, this time they were told to lay their signs on the ground because they were illegal, and the men were handcuffed and taken to jail.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it turns out, Fred, that there's an obscure law about, it's a laws against children, and they were charged with that in pages 600 and 601 of the Wisconsin State statutes. They were charged with violating law 948.11, which is entitled Exposing a Child to Harmful Material.
Oh, that's what's harmful about a sign that's pro-life?
Well, I guess it was a picture of an aborted fetus or aborted baby or whatever.
Well, and they had a picture of it, that poor fetus that was aborted there, that's the people they should go after.
Well, the police refused to identify whoever had issued the complaint against them. Well, after about 90 minutes, the men were released on a $500 signature bond. Now, this is all during the big Birkenbauer, which is, I think, sometimes is viewed on Wide World of Sports. National viewing, probably international. Well, the happy ending is, Fred, on Tuesday, March 8th, under pressure from the American Center for Law and Justice, the charges against the men were withdrawn.
Well, they ought to sue the city for false imprisonment, false arrest.
Mm-hmm. I know. Go ahead, caller. You're on the air. Hello? Must have lost that one. Go ahead, caller. You're on the air. Well, Fred, we're kind of having problems with. We have a new operator that's working today, Fred. I know you recruited him from out of town, and he was gracious enough to come in, but we'll get her straightened out, Fred.
Yes.
Okay, Fred, you know tomorrow is election day.
Right.
And as always, you go vote. I know you do. And where do you vote at, by the way, anyway?
I vote at Bethesda Lutheran Church. No, they talk about separation church and state, and they got us voting in a church.
It's amazing. Yeah, there's a lot of churches, well, several anyway. Good Shepherd Lutheran, Bethesda Lutheran, First...
22 is I'm in Ward 22 or something.
First Presbyterian, Trinity Lutheran, Our Savior's Lutheran, Hope Methodist, Bethel Church, where else? Grace Lutheran, Sacred Heart School. There's quite a few places to go vote, Fred.
Yes.
Now, there's several different races, Fred, and I know you like to keep up on that. And we're going to discuss the elections a little bit, but we're going to try and get this call in there. Go ahead, caller, you're on the air.
Hi, I'd just like to know why you guys are so afraid of gays.
Which ones?
What do you mean?
Which ones are we afraid of?
Homosexuals?
Yeah?
Why are you so afraid of them?
Who said I was?
Well, your little old geezer friend is sitting next to you.
Who's that?
Just take a look at the Bible and you'll know why. There's plenty of references to it in the Bible.
Bible doesn't mean crap.
It does to me. And our Judeo-Christian heritage was founded on that Bible. That's the rock that our country was built on. So you better go back and read those things and read our early history, and you'll find things that you don't find in school books today.
Fred, that was another fine example of what $6,100 per year of public education will buy you in this city. Isn't it amazing?
Yes.
It really is. They go in good little Christians and come out atheists, mixed up. But when you're propagandizing them at the state's expense, $6,100 a year, Fred, you can brainwash anybody to think anyway. Now, I know that there are other examples of fine schools in the private sector, Fred, for 1/3 of the cost that give us a good product. And you know of examples right here in the city of Eau Claire. But in the meantime, Fred, let's see if we can get an educated caller this time. Go ahead, caller, you're on the air.
Hey, yeah, enjoying your program. I see they're giving Freddie a little static there today, huh?
Yeah, well, first it was imposters, then accusations, and then they're after Freddie, and no telling, this is going to be a rough show, Fred.
You guys get this group of people riled up, don't you? Hey, I'd like to talk about the Leader Telegram and some of their journalism. I had a friend of mine call me, and we were talking about Lindquist that did the story on this so-called Christian right, and they said that whole family is from the Democrat Party. So what's he doing writing the story about the Republicans when he should be writing the story about the Democrats?
They probably don't have any Republicans down there at the Leader Telegram.
Yeah, I think that's some bad journalism, that they turn somebody loose like that is from a Democrat Party side. You know, I don't know if he belongs, but I know the whole family's from the Democrat side, according to this neighbor. But you know, some of the journalism that we're seeing happen is so uncalled for. These guys must hate Lutherans and Catholics or the evangelical camp.
They're intolerant. And they use that. They say we're intolerant, but they're intolerant of Christian views.
Yeah, they say
Christian
we don't
principles.
have love, but their love, you got to use a condom.
Yeah.
You know, that's the kind of love they're talking about.
That's called LUST.
Yeah, love.
Pretty soon them doggone Christians are going to start voting.
Yeah, boy, if they ever do, I'll tell you, the Leader Telegram's going to be in trouble. Somebody should take them to task, though, because that's uncalled for, that type of journalism that they're doing. And you take some of the people that he interviewed, like Joanne Lester from the county board, well, that's been at Democrat headquarters for many years. They ought to clean that rat's nest out, you know. And then they take Sue Miller, the chair of the Democrat Party, and allow her to attack the Republicans and supposed to tell the people what's wrong with it.
Is that an unbiased opinion?
If they want to do something, they got something. If they want to clean up things, why don't they clean up that individual who represents the 68th assembly seat?
Oh, they never do that, because you find the liberal press, they lean towards that. And you know, the story is they've got enough problems with themselves. I hear they've got a cover-up story down there about bugging devices and stuff.
Where's that at?
At the Leader Telegram. And that was never brought out public. That thing was a big cover-up. They ought to have the FBI investigate the Leader Telegram, and maybe we'll get some real truth out to the people.
Yes.
Well, that's kind of unusual, Fred, that they would send a Democrat out to do a story on the religious right. But on the other hand, Fred, you know, I've got an old newspaper here. It's now defunct. It used to be called the Cooley Country Journal.
Mm-hmm.
And J. Willie Williams, I think, was one of the spearheads of it. It was a left-wing radical paper in the area. But back in February of '91, on the back page is calling for a recall of Congressman Gunderson. Right there's the headline, and that was an editorial from February 91's paper. Recall Congressman Gunderson. But what else is interesting, Fred, I was flipping through here a little bit, and this newspaper, the defunct newspaper, was bragging about how it was a question, quick, who was the first to expose the shadowy politics of the religious right in Eau Claire? And it was the Cooley Country Journal back in 1991.
The religious right, huh?
So it was nothing new.
Keep up the good works, guys. The Leader Telegram needs to be taken to task, and you guys do a fine job of it.
Well, thank you. Some people don't seem to think so, but we keep plugging on. How long we been here now, Fred? 20, 25 years?
Too long. No, it just seems like that.
Yeah. But we just keep plugging along, Fred. They throw the mud, and we just try and get the truth out on here, Fred.
Mm-hmm.
But there it was, Cooley Country Journal, February of '91. They were talking about recalling Gunderson.
What reasons did they give for doing that?
I think it was the beginning of the Middle East war over there, and they were afraid it was going to explode into a major war, and so they were trying to get Gunderson to...
Are you going to talk about the election, or...?
Yeah, we're gonna try and take that call on line 2 if we can get it in. Go ahead, caller, you're on the air.
Yeah, you got the common man here.
There he
Hello
is.
there. Hello.
I'm back.
We wonder what happened to you. I know that your ratings have started sagging since you quit calling in, so here you're back calling to boost your ratings again.
Well, I don't know about that, but there have been a lot of other things going on here lately.
Well, we're sorry to hear.
Put together my first-year show here, too, so it takes a little bit of time.
We're sorry to hear about the death of, was it your mother there, Randy?
Yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was kind of a rough spot there to go through.
Well, what's on your mind today?
Well, among other things, I
Just have one thing here. We got
I did catch the imposter at the beginning of the show, and I know who that guy is.
Yeah, well, I'd like to know where he came from. He slipped right in here on Fred. Fred didn't even notice it.
He didn't tell me he was going to do that either, so I didn't even know he was going to be on.
Huh.
And I was a little surprised he pulled on me. I was thinking of putting him on my show. I thought, well, that would be his first appearance before he gets his own. See,
Uh-huh.
he's going to do that eventually.
Well, what did you have to discuss here? We got about 25 people waiting.
Well, among other things, I guess having seen you on the TV there now too with on 13 here not too long ago, that kind of evens it up since I've already done an interview for them. Of course, that was just for my show.
Uh-huh.
The interview about me doing the show and everything.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I have kind of come around. It took a while, at first, because I'll tell you, I used to vote for Gunderson for every time, and I've discussed it with him myself.
Yeah, there's a kind of a mess out there.
Among other things, too. And,
From what I understand.
I don't know what he's got going, where he's going, but seems to me he's going to the left wing somewhere.
From what I understand, the state party is quietly searching for a replacement to run against him in the primary.
Well, that's what I've been wondering. I've been trying to think who the heck could run. I can only think, there's a couple guys around here that'd be worth it, but I don't know if neither one of them ever said that they wanted to run against him.
Who in particular?
Well, who I'd be thinking of probably would be Dave Zine or Rob Kryvik.
Yeah? Well, they both live in his district.
Two good candidates.
Mm-hmm. Maybe they need to duke it out in the primary.
Yeah.
With Gunderson, a three-way race. Boy, that'd be a knockdown drag-out, wouldn't it, Fred?
Mm-hmm.
It'd be interesting, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, they're going to need that this year, I think, to get out to win against the Democrats, because the Democrats fielding a couple candidates, and one of them has been working since November.
I was going to say, it seems to me they've got more guys running up against Gunderson this time than they've had for a long time, really. Usually they'll get like one throwaway guy figuring he doesn't have a chance,
Yeah. Well, Common, I just wanted to I can call you Common, can I? We're on.
Well, I guess
we're on friendly enough terms now.
There's my name when I'm on TV anyway.
Well, it's less formal than calling you Mr. Man.
Yeah. Well, like I say, that's my name when I'm on the TV anyway.
Okay, well, I just
I
wanted to
never
let
mentioned my real name in the show, have I?
I just wanted to let you and the viewers know that the program is brought to you by Flavin Pop, Fred.
What's that?
Flavin Pop, and
Oh, it looks like some
Say,
kind of interesting, looks like some kind of French water or something.
I met a guy who drank some of that and all his hair fell out.
well, you know, Fred, I didn't want to open the seal on the bottle here during the show, but
It's a good thing you didn't, because they probably got not Mr. Clean in there, you probably got Mr. Dirty in there.
the last two programs, Fred, I kind of choked up at the end there because you get so dry from talking, and there I had a bottle of Flavin Pop, and I didn't even resort to it.
Yeah.
So today I'm
Well,
prepared, and I've got a glass here.
I'm glad that you've given up drinking that stuff there, Chuck.
Well, when are you on again, Common? You might as well give us
Well,
give yourself a plug.
I guess my next showing, I think, is on the 7th, and I tape it the day before, so I come on right away the day after. I got one more thing. I suppose I'll hear from him too after I say this. Who's this fella Buck that always comes on and picks on me every time I call?
Well, Common, and I can call you Common. I think we're friends now.
Yeah.
I think you just got to expect that when you're in broadcasting, whether it's radio, TV, or even newspapers, any kind of media, you're going to expect people are going to come after you. So just take it as part of the territory, and like a duck.
It's all right. The only thing is, I even challenged the guy to show up on your show so I could talk to him, or maybe get his own show so I could call him in myself, and he hasn't done it yet.
Uh-huh. Okay. Well, Fred's got something pressing here that he needs to talk about, and he's chomping at the bit. So we better move on. But
yeah, I'll let you go on that.
now, what channel are you on again?
Huh?
What channel are you on again?
Same channel as you are, obviously.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks for calling in.
Yep.
All right, we'll see you.
Mm-hmm.
Fred, that was a common man.
Yes.
All right, Fred. What do you got there before we get
Well,
into these elections?
I have an interesting article here, and I think it's good news. Catholics and evangelicals pledge united front against common enemies. And this is dated New York. Conservative Catholic and Protestant leaders and scholars have produced a joint declaration calling on Christians to set aside theological disputes and unite against the common enemy of aggressive secularism. Work on the statement began almost 2 years ago after Father Richard John Neuhaus, a convert and a Catholic theologian, and Charles Colson, former Nixon aide and convicted for his role in Watergate, decided that something needed to be done to counter the growing conflicts among Christians and to join in opposing a common enemy.
Now, in layman's terms, Fred, what's that all mean?
Well, it means that instead of fighting one another, and we're going to oppose the enemy instead of fighting ourselves, which I think is a good idea.
Well, I know that's a potent force there, Chuck.
There are
Colson.
many fine Protestants and many fine Catholics, and we should be working together on issues that concern Christianity.
Well, I know, Fred, this didn't come about overnight. Pat Robertson's been working on this for several years. And Chuck Colson, now they both come from Baptist backgrounds, but kind of a coalition of Catholics, evangelicals, and Baptists.
The project was supported by John Cardinal O'Connor and television evangelist Pat Robertson and nearly 40 other key conservative and Christian and Catholic leaders. And my namesake, Denver's Archbishop J. Francis Stafford, was a member of the committee which drafted the statement. That comes from the Wanderer.
Was there any relation to you?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, Fred. Boy, these lights are bright tonight, Fred.
Yes.
There it's... Okay, we're going to take a call here. Go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, I'd like to get your guys' opinion on our no-fun city council. If you ask me, you know how you see the no smoking signs, the big circle with a line through a cigarette? I think we should have our city council framed like that, put a big circle around them and put a line through it. This all leads to Sawdust City Days, all their condoning against this and then against that. It's basically becoming no fun, and pretty soon we aren't going to have anybody coming into this town for any events, no tourism, and that's part of the reason we're losing some of our jobs right now. I just wanted to get your guys' feeling on this.
Well, what exactly in particular is bugging you about this?
Well, it's just the rules after
Cancellation.
rules, complaints, stopping something at 10:30 at night instead of letting it go until 12:30. Now we're not even going to have Sawdust City Days in this town, and it seems like the older generation of the city council want to tone the noise down, or they want to do this, or they want to do that. They don't realize that they have children that are working in the community, and part of them are going to be losing their jobs because of the tourism isn't going to be coming into this town.
Well, it sounds like you're very upset about this. Are you in the tourist industry?
No, I'm not. I'm in a distributorship industry, which partly comes into that. Of course, our business is going to be, losing money. But there still are a lot of other businesses. Your restaurants, your hotels. It seems like every time we turn around, we're losing something else.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Same way down in the Water Street area with the students. It seems like there's a different rule each week being put in down there to stop somebody from having fun. And I'm not saying it's disruptive fun. I mean just normal fun. Or you try and set something up on Water Street and block it off. And one time a year, I think we can block it off where we have a sidewalk sale. Besides that, we have nothing. And pretty soon, this town's just going to dry right up, as I see it. I don't think, you don't get any students coming back that go home for the summer. You don't see any of them coming back, filtering the money that they made in their summer jobs back into this town.
Well, we're kind of shifting from an industrial base to a service-type economy with a lot of retail stores and a lot of low-paying retail-type jobs that kind of hire people that are transient in nature. Fred, we don't have them real heavy industrial, or not too many of them left anymore.
no. Well, one of the reasons, you got to look at the taxes here, and you take a look over in Menominee, they're getting businesses, and we are not. And you take a look at Wausau. Wausau, since I lived in Wausau, and I lived there and left there in '66, they didn't have much there, but you go over there now and you got, I don't know how many businesses they've gained, 50, 100. You're going in from a couple of miles out, you pass business after business.
Well, Fred, there was a major blow when Unirile left.
Well, that's true, and we haven't been able to replace it.
With that type of good-paying jobs, we haven't.
We're losing more, too. There was just a plastic shop that went down, and it's going to keep going. Convenience store gas stations. They're going to fall by the wayside. No one's going to be traveling into this town. There's going to be nothing to do here.
Well, we're a regional shopping area, and now the fairgrounds is coming online on the south end of town there, and probably you'll see a lot of those activities shifting out that way because of complaints from the Carson Park area of the noise day and night. And it looks like there is some kind of arena or some kind of larger building that's going to be built out there, Fred, to handle some of that.
Yeah.
But they have, acres and acres of parking out there, and it's a wide open spaces. There'll be less complaints. So the city in general is moving to the south, so a lot of that entertainment's going to go that way too. And hopefully they won't totally scuttle Sawdust City Days. I guess they have, Fred, but maybe they'll revive it on a different type of as a different type of event.
Well, the cost for insurance too to cover that event is almost prohibitive.
Imagine the liability is really high.
Yeah.
But there are people, caller, that are working within the city, trying to bring in industry, and when you're competing against probably 50 other cities of this size, it's rough to get them to snag them. It's like you're fishing out there, and once in a while you snag one, and once in a while you lose one.
One last comment, I just think we need a few more at least, younger generation people on the city council. That's my feeling, and
well,
elaborate on that if you want or not.
That's a good thought.
Hey, well, thank you, caller. Well, Fred, that leads us into the elections are coming up, and we do have some city elections, city of Eau Claire, and it's council at large, Fred, and there's 6 people running for 5 positions.
Yes.
Now, all 6 of them, from what I understand, promote the inner bypass.
Yeah.
Now, there are 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 5 open spaces, Fred, for people to write in names.
Yes.
So, what we could do, Fred, to gauge the popularity of this show, we could ask for a write-in for Fred K. Stafford.
No, there's no K. Fred K. Stafford here. It's Fred F.
Okay, Fred.
My middle name is Francis.
Fred F. Stafford.
And you'd be better off writing in somebody else's name, I think.
Hey, Fred.
Why not put Charles Lee in?
We'll write in Fred Stafford.
No.
We'll just see council at large, Fred. There's plenty of write-in spaces, so we'll just see if anyone's interested in something other than 6 people that are supporting the inner bypass. Maybe there's...
Well, what bypass are you supporting?
Well, Fred, I kind of lean towards the outer.
Okay.
How about you?
I'm a middle to outer pass man.
Uh-huh.
You know, I noticed that, and I go up and down I-94, go up 53. I noticed that they bypassed a number of towns. Chippewa Falls, for example, they still continue to do business. They didn't drop off the map because they were bypassed. Bloomer, still in business. Even New Auburn, Chetek, Cameron, and Rice Lake, they're still operating in spite of the fact they didn't have a inner bypass.
Fred, didn't I tell Chris and Cliff Economaki to please keep that stuff out of the studio once the show starts? And here we go again.
What, you got another gay parade there?
I said to him, Chris and Cliff, put those feathers away before the show starts. And here we are. They never listen, Fred. I thought one time we'd get through a show without them letting that stuff out.
Those are not feathers, they're plumes.
Oh, whatever they were. I said, do not play with those during the show.
Well, they see you, if you call them plumes, they probably wouldn't have run around here.
Okay, so everybody out there is going to write in Fred.
No, write in somebody else.
Frederick Francis Stafford.
Yeah, well,
Frederick F. Stafford?
Frederick F. is my name, but I don't want. I'm not interested in serving on the city council.
Now, Fred,
I think I can do more good not serving on the city council.
Is there such a thing as a bullet vote on this, Fred? Like instead of voting for 5 people here, it says vote for no more than 5. What if you just voted for 1? Is that?
Yeah, well, why not vote for 1? Okay, which one will we vote for?
Is that a weighted vote to make your vote stand for more?
Who are the? You want to mention the 5 that are running?
Well, I was hoping Joanne Lester would call in again and let people know to go out and vote and be heard, because there is an awful lot of stuff here for spring election. You got judicial. You've got Janine Geske against William A. Pangman.
Yeah.
That's Justice of the Supreme Court. And you've got Circuit Court Judge number 1, Barland, is running unopposed. Circuit Court Judge Branch 4, Proctor, is running unopposed. And the new Circuit Court Judge Branch 5 is hotly contested, Laurie J. Franson against Paul J. Lenz.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have plenty.
Who do you like there in that contest, Chuck?
Well, Fred, I'm kind of leaning towards Laurie Franson.
Yeah. Well, I guess we might as well lean then towards Paul Lenz.
Okay, well, that's your purgatory. Go ahead, caller, you're on the air.
Yeah, I'm a dairy farmer here in Bloomer, and I've been getting all these complaints saying that because I use BGH, and a few of my friends know that, and they're getting concerned, and they're saying that it's going to poison their families and everything. But I wouldn't use BGH unless I drank it myself, and I drink my own milk, right?
Mm-hmm.
And well, if it's so bad, why would I even be drinking it? Because I'm the one that's putting it in my cows, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well. And like I was been calling about GPX last time. I'm in a band for part time, and you want to hear my GPX roar? It's really, really good.
Fred, I thought we were on BGH. Now,
yeah.
He got from BGH to GPX, but
that's the same guy again.
Well, Fred, we do have Flavin's pus inhibitors.
Oh God. Let's not talk about that.
Now, you can use those to get the BGH out of your milk, and those will even work on ice cream cones.
Yeah, they will, huh?
Yep. I think we still had a caller waiting on line 1, so go ahead, caller, you're on the air.
GPX is going to take over the world!
I think Fred liked that, Chief. I think you like that GPX, Fred. Do you have stock in that company or something?
No.
Okay, Fred. What do you got over there?
Well, I got gee, there's lots of interesting things here. Cardinal John Cardinal O'Connor and Congressman Dornan give reasons for pro-life optimism. Despite intense opposition to pro-life caused by both government and mass media, the theme of the annual Respect Life Institute on March 8th was again one of the hope of 850 pro-lifers gathered in St. Joseph's Archdiocesan Seminary to hear a bevy of well-known speakers. And one of them was Congressman Robert Dornan, John Cardinal O'Connor, and several more.
Okay, Fred, we better take a call here. They're kind of backing up. That guy's still on that GPX, Fred. Maybe it was... Before I go to this next call, Fred, I wanted to give the viewers what happened on this date. And on April 4th, that's the day, Fred, in 1968, what happened?
April 4th, 1968. April 4th, 1968. I can't think of, we were involved in Vietnam then, I know, and that wasn't the date that Lyndon Johnson, President Lyndon Johnson, announced he wasn't going to run again, was it?
Well, it was turbulent times, Fred, and I remember this evening well. I just happened to be in a card game, and my friend and I were the only white people in the room. And it was a friendly game. A couple of the black guys had guns, pistols, but we knew they always carried guns. And we were both young and full of vinegar and drinking and stuff. It was the evening that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was shot and killed in Memphis, Tennessee.
Yeah.
We just kind of looked at each other and started dealing the cards again. What could you do? He's dead. And then, of course, the radio was on. You could hear that the riots were starting all over the country. It's turbulent times, Fred, those 60s. Go ahead, caller. You're on the air. Boy, Fred, I think we're on the wrong line there today.
I think that must have a reconnect or something there.
Well, you'd think that the our new screener in there would catch that.
Yeah.
GPX rules! Woo, woo, woo! GPX!
Now we got them on both lines, Fred. Is school out today, or is that just another example of our $6,100 award?
I think they're off today.
Huh.
Yes, they are off today.
Okay, another thing happened, Fred.
Yes.
In 1949, on this date. Now, you ought to remember this well. You're from New York.
Yes. What's the date now?
April 4th, 1949.
Go ahead, I was there.
In New York?
You bet.
Well, it was the day that NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, was born. Actually, it was born in Washington, D.C., but
right
on the East Coast.
Yeah.
Okay, Fred, we're going to see if the lines now are clear of all this GPH. And I, when I was off the screen there just shortly, Fred, I said, put some Flavin's pus inhibitors on that phone and screen that stuff. So let's see if it's been screened now. Go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, where did you get this name, Flavins? I got from Xanax!
Okay, he wants to know where the word Flavins came from, Fred. That's from the old country. The Flavin family came over here from the old country, settled in the Chippewa Valley, and through many days of trial and error, just like Edison, they came up with Flavin Pop, Fred, and that's the flagship of the company.
Yeah.
If I sang the jingle lately?
I don't want to disappoint you or anything, but don't you know that ship sank?
No, somebody
it sank in the beautiful Chippewa River.
Now, have I sang the jingle lately?
I don't think you better do that.
Well, we better, because
somebody
we have to.
No, you don't want to antagonize the people and torture them.
Fred, but the Flavin Company is gracious enough to sponsor this program.
Yeah, I know.
And in exchange for that, I sing the jingle.
I'm trying to tell you that ship that you're talking about sank a long time ago.
Okay, so be prepared now.
And that was,
Here's how
it wasn't a ship, it was a rowboat.
Here's how it goes, Fred. You can either sing along or just make light of it. Flavin' pop, flavin' plop. Don't drink slop, drink flavin' pop. The thinking man's drink. That's it, Fred.
And after you drink that, you won't think anymore.
Okay, caller, go ahead. You're on the air.
GPX.
Fred, that guy's got... I told him to put those flavin pus inhibitors on the line. Go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
Hang up and try again.
Well, we lost that one. Okay, Fred. One more time before you read your next article. On this date, in 1865, April 4th.
There he's back again.
What happened, Fred?
1865,
April 4th.
April 4th, was that the end of the Civil War?
Pretty close. That was the day
Or the Battle of Appomattox?
That was the day that President Lincoln entered the occupied city of Richmond, Virginia, to cheers from Southerners and Northerners alike. I guess after 4 long years, they were just sick of that war. Of course, Tecumseh Sherman had went through there and burned everything in sight, so there wasn't much left to eat. But Lincoln triumphantly came into Richmond, Virginia, occupied. Okay, we're going to see if the pus inhibitors are fully in effect now. Go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, I have a question for Fred. If for some reason you do get elected to office, would you keep the position or would you resign the position?
Oh, I think I wouldn't keep it. I got enough things to keep me busy without becoming involved in the city council.
You mean you couldn't serve for a measly 2 years, Fred?
No, it doesn't pay enough money to begin with.
Well, I hear they're looking for a raise.
I know, but it still wouldn't be enough money.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Thanks.
All right. See, Fred, there you have it. Somebody's already wanting you to run.
Yeah.
Okay, Fred, on the school board, we have Bruce King, weatherman of Channel 13, John F. Noss, who you might know, and Mary C. Neer, who works part-time in the school system. What does Noss do? Does he sell insurance or something?
He was in the insurance business. He worked for Mutual of Omaha. I've at least had a general agency here and then went out to be vice president or something out there in Omaha.
Okay, Fred, we're going to take a call in a minute, but that reminds me of something. Edward Young, who's on the present city council, who's resigning.
Yeah, he's not running again, yes.
He stated that the 551 made it pretty much impossible for conservatives to be elected to the board, but he said it opens up the way for moderates in these citywide elections.
Well, the moderates vote and the conservatives may not.
But I got to thinking, Fred, if they would do this, if that kind of system is good for the city council, why wouldn't it be good for the Eau Claire school district? Like a 551 or a 651 or whatever. 652, I guess would be. But wouldn't that be nice, Fred, if the school district was opened up so we'd have like 5 big districts and maybe 5 at large and a president of the council? Wouldn't that be a nice change? If it's good enough for the city, why not for the school board? That's the way I feel. Of course, that's just my opinion, Fred.
Yes.
I thought we had a call on line 1, so we'll see if it's still there. Hello, caller.
Yeah, I like GPX, and I like green GPX, like green eyeshadow.
Yeah, yeah.
Fred, I don't know if this guy's selling eyeshadow or speakers.
He must be a salesman for GPX.
Yeah.
I see the Operation Shutout. DeRoy Murdoch, writing in the March 23rd New York Post, listed a number of mysterious beatings and deaths associated with people investigating Bill Clinton and his troubled past in Arkansas. See Joseph Sobran's Washington Watch column for further details.
Yeah, Fred, there was the head of security in the Little Rock, Arkansas Clinton Gore campaign headquarters was murdered in a drive-by shooting not too long ago down in Arkansas. Somebody just drove up beside him and blasted away and murdered the guy. And not only did they shoot him, they stopped and got out of the car and shot him again to make sure he's dead. So there are some mysterious deaths surrounding the Clintons, going back to the summer of '92.
See, shortly before, the London Sunday Telegraph investigative reporter Ambrose Evans Pritchard was to interview Ronald Rogers, an Arkansas dentist, about sensitive knowledge he possessed on the Clintons' dealings in the state. Rogers was killed in a mysterious plane crash as it traveled through the night sky about 3 miles away from the Shepherd Air Force Base.
Huh. Well, we better take this call, and then I'll make a statement about it. Go ahead, caller, you're on the air.
I think GPX should be praised for their work, so should Green Eyeshadow.
Fred, they must own a...
That must be contagious.
Maybe they must own part of the factory. Is there a GPX factory in town?
No.
Well, Fred, you know, I was just thinking about that. There was also a story about a woman down there that claimed that she'd had an affair with President Clinton, and somebody showed up and told her if she didn't shut up, they're going to break her legs.
Yeah, there's another one that has just come out that I was reading about somewhere in the last day or so, but I don't know where that is now.
Well, Fred, you're a fisherman. You know the daily walleye limits, and the list of lakes with limits is upon us again. It's springtime, and
yes,
and I guess the various tribes plan on taking thousands of fish out of these lakes.
Well, I ought to be able to. I ought to be able to take some out myself because I got a transfusion from an Indian there and helped to save my life.
Did.
So I should be able to go and catch some of those walleyes.
Uh-huh. Now, I don't see anything in Eau Claire County as of yet, but I think that they are coming into Chippewa County on the Holcomb Flowage, Lake Wissota, Long Lake, and Old Abe Lake. So there is going to be some restrictions up in... That is a 3 walleye a day limit on those lakes, Fred, this year.
Yeah.
Now, the reason they're having limits is because they're allowing the tribes to go in there and pretty much strip the lakes of their walleye. And then the tourists that this state relies on, they come up here and they're vastly limited on the amount of fish that they can take. So it's probably going to have a negative effect overall, Fred.
Well, you know, when you stop to think about it, if you catch 3 walleyes, that's pretty good.
Yeah. On the other hand, you can take out 501 night if you belong to the right tribe.
Yeah.
But what did it used to be, Fred, back in the old days? Was it any amount? 10 years ago, what was it?
You caught what you could catch.
I suppose that made the tourists want to come up here.
And there was lots of fish.
Okay, Fred, back tomorrow, April 15th.
April the 15th.
April 5th.
That's a painful day.
April 5th, 1614.
Oh, April 5th.
Now, do you remember that? What happened on that date?
April 5th, what day, year?
1614.
1614. Well, that, 1492, they discovered America. I don't know. What's good? Might as well enlighten us.
Pocahontas marries John Rolfe and decides to return to Britain with him, and she was the toast of England, Fred. Once she went over there, she was like a star, like a modern, or the movie star of this day. She was like the movie star of that day when she went back to England with John Rolfe.
Got some
telephone
calls.
We're going to have to take a call here, and hopefully the things have cleared up. Go ahead, caller, you're on the air.
How long does it take you to grow that beard?
Well, Fred, at least they're off that other kick.
Yeah.
Well, Fred, a beard just, you know how you don't shave, Fred, the beard just starts. So it's just kind of a thing that kind of just grows.
Yes.
So since it's continuing to grow, it's a continuous process. It can take 20 years. I've had a beard on and off for about 25 years now. Okay, I'm going to take a call here in a second, Fred, but now this one you've got to remember, Fred. April 5th, 1958.
April 5th, 1958. 58?
Yep.
Well, that was when Eisenhower was president.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. April the 5th.
The Cuban Revolution begins as Fidel Castro proclaims war against the Cuban government. And the dictator down there was a pretty lousy leader.
Batista.
Yeah.
But you know, the funny thing is, in the book, the Fourth Floor, which is written by a former ambassador, he wanted to make peace with us.
I have a question while
why they're making all these special parking spaces here, like they have the mother-to-be one and stuff. Now, why are they doing all that? Because they never had that back in my day here. And so you know what I've been doing? I've been just parking my car there and cranking my GPX to the max. You know what I mean?
Well, Fred, on this date in 1994,
Yeah.
we had a slew of GPX calls.
Yeah.
April 4th, 1994, right here.
Not April the 1st. That would have been April Fool's Day.
Yeah. Go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
Is there something you can do to screen those calls and those goofy...
Well, we have a battery. We have a battery of new call screeners in the other room, and we're working the bugs out of it. And we've got the pus inhibitors hooked into the lines now, and hopefully we'll clean that problem up. But go ahead, caller. What's on your mind today?
Is it okay if we refocus from Cuba and talk about the election tomorrow?
Yeah.
Can you give us some guidance as to who to vote for? I think Fred's got the right idea as far as judge, but I think Chuck is a little misguided on his judge's choice.
Mm-hmm.
But that aside, maybe we can go to the city council and talk about our non-representative type council we've got down at City Hall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's...
Well, you got two people running for the school board, Mary Kinnear and Bruce King. I like them both.
Both of them? Okay.
Yes.
We can only vote for one, though, right?
No,
according
two.
According to this, we can
Two.
vote for two.
Okay.
2 seats open.
Okay.
And on the city council, you can vote for 5. There are 6 running.
And there's
No.
Pangman running for Supreme Court Justice.
Do you have anyone in particular that you'd like to vote for the city council, caller?
Well, I don't know that any of them are worth voting for, are they?
I know, from what I understand, all 6 of them are inner bypass people. We're going to have a heavily weighted inner bypass council down there, Fred, but it's too bad that that's the only issue that seems to unite them. You know, I know they voted for $18,000 of hard-earned tax money to push that inner bypass.
Yeah, I don't think one of them opposed that $18,000 allocation for
No.
promotional purposes.
You know, caller, though, if you think about it, if we get the inner bypass, we can take that sucker and put her right downtown, in the 4-lane highway right downtown Eau Claire, and run her from the north crossing all the way out to I-94.
Okay, that sounds like a good idea if you run that by the DOT, Chuck.
Well, we'll have to meet with them.
Okay.
You think we can change their opinion?
No, I doubt it. I doubt it.
If it's inner bypass, why not run her right downtown and get that urban renewal in there at the same time?
Yeah, could run it on the north side there and wipe out 2 of the porno sex shops there at one swoop.
Yep. And then
Fred, what are your choices for local government?
Well, I don't know. I might vote for Mr. White, and I'm not too enthused about any of the others.
Well, caller, we only got about 30 seconds, so we got to say our goodbyes, but thanks for calling in. And just want to tell everyone that we were supposed to be on tonight at 9, Fred, but we were preempted because of the city council debate or whatever's coming up. But it's not going to be much of a debate with only one loser. It's kind of like musical chairs. One person's going to lose out of the 6. So, once again, we've had another rousing and exciting Kyle Report. I've been your host, Chuck Lee, and please excuse that imposter that tried to take over the show at the beginning. I don't know why Fred didn't catch on to that. But,
Well, I thought he was better looking, Chuck.
But Fred can't see everything. I mean, can't catch everything. So we'll see you again, right
He
here.
had an Illinois baseball hat on. It must be okay.
Right here, next week, 9 p.m. on the Kyle Report. Good evening. Good afternoon. Goodbye.
Here's something else that's interesting.
Fred, I think we're on the air.
Howdy.
Of course, this is the Cow Report, Fred.
Yes.
I'm your host, Chuck Lee, and with me, as always, is Fred, Mr. Wright Stafford.
Oh. And we got a new sponsor, Chuck.
You do?
Yeah. Fred's the best pop.
Fred's Pop?
Yeah.
Where'd that come from?
Instead of that slop there, that Flavin slop, we have Fred's Pop.
How much something like that cost?
Well, it's pretty inexpensive, but it varies with the different places that carry it.
Now,
you have to check with the...
Now, who's producing that for you, Fred?
Well,
Caught me
at
completely
the
off guard
present
here.
time, I'm producing it in my own bathtub, and we have a limited supply, so
There it
not
is.
every place can get it.
Fred's Pop. Now, I suppose you got your own slogan, too.
Yeah.
How's it go?
Instead of drinking Flavin slop, drink Fred's, the best pop.
Well, that's real exciting, Fred. We're glad that you can make it today, Fred. So you want to put that over here by, you want to put little Junior over here by the...
Yeah.
I guess we'll have to, now you think Flavin's might pick that up?
I don't think they're going to... This is a secret recipe there.
What's that thing in the bottom of it?
That's the secret, part of the secret recipe.
All right, secret recipe. Okay, well, Fred, you've been studying the results of the elections over there in South Africa. How do things look over there?
It looks, from my point of view...
We're going to take a call, Fred. Maybe the caller will have something to say about that. Go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, you got the common man here.
Now...
Howdy.
Hi.
Now, we've established that we can call you Common, can't we?
I think so. That's okay.
Okay. Go ahead.
That's sort of my that's my stage name. That's good enough.
Well, as opposed to calling you Mr. Man.
Yes.
We got Mr. Wright here, so, okay. Common, what's on your mind?
Well, first I'll kind of comment on that interesting background you got there. Kind of reminds me of some of those old outer space movies or something, you know, with like Star Trek or something, you know, all the special effects and all that.
Yeah, that was designed, and it's a public domain computer software. And what I did was focus my camera on my computer monitor, and then taped an hour of that, and it just automatically creates all these different designs. I don't know how long it'll go on. I had to do it about 3 hours worth to get it down to an hour, but there's even music that goes with it, some 60s music, and we couldn't figure out exactly how to do that. Play it kind of real softly in the background, maybe, so the shows will have a little of that music in the background playing, but that's how I did it. So that is kind of colorful, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It creates a different look.
And it kind of blends in with our flying cow there.
Yeah.
Flying across the screen with the American flag, Fred.
Yes.
Yeah, looks like he's kind of in outer space there himself.
Well, Common, I know you're trying to boost your ratings, so when are you on again?
Well, believe it or not, I'm going to try this live stuff myself here in about 5 days. What is it? Yeah, on the 6th.
I'll tell you.
Only half an hour, but
a lot more work
you're
than
welcome
you
to
think.
call if you can manage to get in. I don't know how many people are going to try and call me, but you never know.
It's very complicated and high tech, and we're trying to learn it down here, but it takes a while to learn that stuff.
Yeah, it'll probably take me a while to figure out how to use the phone. I don't know. I'll just I'll just try to have as much fun with it as I can, and see how it goes. And if I like it, there'll probably be some more. If I don't like it, I'll probably have to think it over about doing it in the future. But just
Okay, Common, well, what's your profound statement for the day?
my profound statement. Well, my profound statement.
How about that go-kart track out there?
The go-kart? You mean the Red Cedar Boys?
The one out there by Menards. I noticed they got that back in
That
business.
deal. Okay. Well.
Back in business. You think they'll get any traffic out of that?
I don't know. I took a ride in one of them things out there for the fun of it. One of those that they have out there, their own.
I mean, these racing guys now, if they really get with it, they can get up 50 miles an hour.
They go pretty fast. They go a lot faster than the ones that they just let people ride around on for fun. I rode one of those.
Back in the 60s, that was a big-time sport, and a lot of people spent a lot of money. I remember in the early 60s, a friend of mine was on the racing circuit. He was just a teenager, but we went to a race once and one of those sprockets in the back disintegrated on a guy and went right through his back. That's the last time I thought about riding a go-kart.
Now, that's the only thing about them. They're out in the open like that. That's just good. You ain't got nothing around you. Like when I had my race car, you know, well, I've got fenders and doors and all kinds of protection there, you know, in case somebody run into me or something. So, no, they had those out on the Rice Lake racetrack. Guys tried them several years ago, but I guess it didn't catch on very well. I don't think they're doing them anymore. But and that was kind of interesting too, trying that on a dirt track yet on top of it. But
yeah, well, maybe you can deal with that on your show.
Well, there'll probably be more racing stuff eventually, but right now we're still kind of concerned about this, about the Red Cedar deal there. I don't know if you heard, but the big court case is about that.
Oh yeah.
Bill is coming up about a year from now, and
yeah,
wouldn't be. You know, I don't know. Some people don't. Some people are they're thinking one way, and some are thinking the other. But mostly everybody I know, including that has any legal knowledge or whatever, even more than I do, they kind of see the track as probably being this might be the last year they run.
Well, we'll be watching that real close. I want to thank you for calling in, and exactly when is the date you're on again?
Well, like I said, it's May 6th, and it'll be about on this. It'll be almost the same time. It starts at 2:30.
Okay. Well, I'll see if I can come down and help you. Roy's here helping a little bit right now. You know Roy.
Yeah, I think he'll probably be he'll be screening my calls or something.
One day I walked in here and he was on the set with Fred, and Fred didn't even know it was him. The show had started without me.
I know it.
Couldn't believe it. I had to chase the imposter off the stage.
He's better looking.
Oh.
Well, he's full of surprises.
Okay, well, thanks a lot for calling in, Common.
Okay.
And we have ascertained that I can call you Common.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that was Mr. Common Man, Fred.
Yes. It was nice of him to call.
For those who don't know him, it's Mr. Man.
Yeah.
The rest, to his friends, it's Common.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Finishing off on that airline deal, Fred.
Yes.
Fred,
Howdy.
Fred, I think we're on the air.
Howdy.
Of course, this is the Cow Report, Fred.
Yes.
I'm your host, Chuck Lee, and with me, as always, is Fred, Mr. Wright Stafford.
Oh. And we got a new sponsor, Chuck.
You do?
Yeah. Fred's the best pop.
Fred's Pop?
Yeah.
Where'd that come from?
Instead of that slop there, that Flavin slop, we have Fred's Pop.
How much something like that cost?
Well, it's pretty inexpensive, but it varies with the different places that carry it.
Now,
you have to check with the...
Now, who's producing that for you, Fred?
Well, at the present
here.
time, I'm producing it in my own bathtub, and we have a limited supply, so not every place can get it.
Fred's Pop. Now, I suppose you got your own slogan, too.
Yeah.
How's it go?
Instead of drinking Flavin slop, drink Fred's, the best pop.
Well, that's real exciting, Fred. We're glad that you can make it today, Fred. So you want to put that over here you want to put little Junior over here by the...
Yeah.
I guess we'll have to, now you think Flavin's might pick that up?
I don't think they're going to... This is a secret recipe there.
What's that thing in the bottom of it?
That's the secret, part of the secret recipe.
All right, secret recipe. Okay, well, Fred, you've been studying the results of the elections over there in South Africa. How do things look over there?
It looks, from my point of view, it looks pretty bad. You can get it.
Fred's Pop. Now, I suppose you got your own slogan, too.
Yeah.
How's it go?
Instead of drinking Flavin slop, drink Fred's, the best pop.
Well, that's real exciting, Fred. We're glad that you can make it today, Fred. So you want to put that over here you want to put little Junior over here by the...
Yeah.
I guess we'll have to, now you think Flavin's might pick that up?
I don't think they're going to... This is a secret recipe there.
What's that thing in the bottom of it?
That's the secret, part of the secret recipe.
All right, secret recipe. Okay, well, Fred, you've been studying